Welcome to the Family Photography Marketing Podcast, where we dive into the world of marketing and help you take your business to the next level. I'm your host, Fiona, a marketing expert with 10 years of experience in the family photography industry, and in each episode of this podcast, I'll be sharing my insights and strategies for successful marketing to help you navigate the ever-changing landscape of digital and traditional marketing techniques. So whether you're just starting out or looking to fine-tune your marketing approach, this podcast has something for you. So join me and let's get started. Welcome to the Family Photographer Marketing Podcast. Today we are going to be talking about systems in marketing. So before you slide away into boredom, I just want to bring you back and let you know that we're going to be talking about systems in a very tangible way. It's kind of like one of those rites of passages as a family photographer that when you first get started, your business is very much not official. You don't have systems in place. And then as you have systems in place, you feel like, okay, I'm crossing things off my list, but those systems may not actually be really working for you. So that's what we're going to be talking about in this episode. The most important part of any system is a foundation of what you're working towards. And that is the thing that is often missing. So people are utilizing systems and they're not really helping them book more sessions. So sometimes I meet these photographers who literally have systems out the wazoo. Like they have every system imaginable, but they're still struggling to book because those systems aren't actually built upon a marketing foundation of what they're trying to book. So one way to think about this is if you were to open your phone to your, calendar view, and you looked at today. So today's June 21st. So you're looking at the day and you zoom out and you look at the month, and then you zoom out and you look at the year, you'll see that fall is actually really close. And if you don't make a plan and put those systems in place, then you won't be where you want to be in terms of booking the type of fall that you want to book, and you'll be in that fall scramble. So even if you have systems that work in your business, if they're not working to help you book out your ideal season, then they're not doing what they could be doing. So this year, more than any other year, you need to be marketing early. People are being more careful with where they invest their money, and that includes the money that they do or do not invest with you in your business. So what we're going to do in this episode is walk through a basic fall marketing plan, and then we're going to talk about how systems could support that plan. So let's say that last year we got punched in the face with resentment about November-ish. So you felt yourself being pulled away from your family too much during the holiday card rush, and you know that you don't want to be in that place again. You want to participate in the holiday card rush because you like the end of your income bump, but you don't want it to feel like out of control for you or your business, and that you have no time to be with your family or plan your own holidays. So let's say that you make your first fall boundary that you're not going to take any sessions past the second week of November. So I'm designing this fall plan sort of around how I design my own fall, but just what I've learned from past falls. So you can set any date you want, or you could even take time off in the middle. I know there's a couple photographers that will take like 3 weeks off in November. So they'll work the first week of November, take 3 weeks off in November, work the first week of December, and then take the rest of December off. Whatever it is, figure it out right now, and then actually go into your phone and make a note of it. So when I have sections of time where I don't want to book anything, I will block the whole thing off, and it just says no shoots in bold writing across my phone, because I can be a bit of a people pleaser. And so I want to remind myself that I've set that boundary, and I want to keep the promise to myself that I'm going to stick to it. Now, if we work backwards from the first boundary, we can say, what types of shoots are my favorite? What was frustrating last year? Was it weather? Was it timing? Was it too many weekends? By planning now, you can be more picky. So let's say that you are just going to do full sessions, but weekday only. So that's your fall plan. You don't want to participate in minis. You don't want to do any studio shoots. You just want full sessions on weekday evenings only or weekdays only, and you've priced them so you can hit your fall income goal without participating in minis. So you plan those and the backup weather days, and you put together a series of posts about client best practices for those shoots. That would include styling location, holiday card design. That's a really fun one that's kind of overlooked. You can go ahead and step fully into the role of providing someone with a holiday card if that's what it is. Even if you say, I'm only going to get one, posed image and the rest is going to be really candid and playful, you can still say, like a lot of the holiday cards I get, the images that end up being used these days are more lifestyle images. So you can still say, I'll show you some of my favorite holiday card designs. You can even send me over some that you like and I'll take a look at them and let you know. That can be, what time of day we're going to shoot, anything else that would be helpful. So this is where you become the hand holder of these types of weekday full sessions, which is what you want to do. So if it's weekday only, because it's very, very important to you to keep your weekends free, you can talk about how people can schedule their day around the session. Anything that you think would be helpful for people who are trying to fit into your ideal fall. So we're going to move on to a different system. So let's say that you want to do 3 outdoor minis and 3 studio mini days. I'm just going by what a lot of family photographers end up doing. So you want to get the studio, if you don't own one, secured now. You want to plan the outdoor days plus the backup days. That way, if you luck out on weather, you can use the rescheduled days as a day to book a few more last minute shoots if you want to, or you just have a fun free day that you can spend with your family. So the idea is you design your ideal fall, which is going to be different for everyone. I know photographers who do like Santa minis, and they'll do like a ton of them. And that's their sole focus in fall is Santa minis. And then I know other people who do outdoor minis where they do them all day. They'll do like 10 families in a day. And then I know people who just keep trucking like it's any season and they don't want to participate in minis or holiday cards or anything. But the bottom line is whatever you want your fall to be, now is the time to plan it, because we're really not far away from entering fall. If you think about how many times we're going to need to talk about things, which is what I say all the time, 7 to 10 times if you back up from when fall actually starts, that's basically you're already at once a week right now. So that's the way to think about timing. Now, if you have your set dates and you know what you want to sell, you can draw people into those dates. So you can create a wait list and you can open it up to your email first. Now, I've already seen a lot of photographers opening up their fall email list for waiting for dates. That is what everyone needs to be doing right now, because those photographers are already getting those sessions booked. And if you keep waiting and waiting and waiting till you have, whatever it is that you're waiting for, maybe you think talking about fall in June is not going to work. I'm here to tell you that there are definitely people who have already booked out their entire fall by this month. If you rely on an email list, then that's a great way to do it. Or you can just open up the dates and then you can know that you're going to need to talk about them quite a bit. So one helpful brain shift for me is that once I have my dates, so I haven't yet completely planned out my fall because I'm waiting, I'm kind of held captive by our soccer schedule right now. But once I have an idea of that, I think of the open dates like individual products. And for some reason that really helps me. So it's like if I think of the individual dates like I'm selling shoes, then each date is a pair of shoes. And I have this many pairs of shoes that I need to sell. And I know that I need to talk about them, talk about the benefits, bring people into the story of the shoe to be able to sell them. Then I can use an online scheduler like Later or Planoly so that I can create these posts that talk about what I'm trying to book and actually get them scheduled so I'm not freaking myself out when it comes time to press post and not doing that work. So that's another system that can really help you. If you have online booking, so you've arranged all of your dates, which is how I do it. When I'm planning, I have my main calendar open and then I have my Acuity. I use Acuity, my online scheduler. And as I go through, I'm adding dates, checking with my regular calendar, making sure everything works. And then once I have those dates in my brain, I have this handful of items that I need to sell. And for some reason, thinking about it that way makes it so much easier because I know if I sell these items, I will hit my income goal for that season. So that makes it much less emotional because the art part, the selling of the emotional art that we create, can be really overwhelming. But if we take the dates and liken them to products, it can kind of create a helpful shift in your brain. You can institute a system, another system within marketing, where you're adding value. So my favorite one is like tool like Style and Select. And it's interesting because clients or even other photographers will notice that I use Style and Select, and they'll ask me like, do you find that most of your clients use Style and Select? And it's not actually something that I track. What I know is I've gotten enough feedback from clients that it's a tool that they enjoy playing with and they feel supported, and it's an added value. So that way the client is on the back end playing around with a styling tool that I gave them access to. So they're using my tool, but not my time. So that's a really good system that's in place. Another one with my online booking, clients are able to reschedule sessions if I have open dates. And I love that because if someone needed to reschedule for whatever reason, I don't want them to email me back and forth 70 times. I'd rather they just reschedule it and then I can get to work booking the other date. And of course, I have my system set up that way because, for one, very few people actually reschedule. But I like that the tool is there for them to use instead of them using my time. So you can use a CRM to email out a set of post-booking emails for those who book. So that tool is working for you to help your client feel valued and supported, but it's not actually taking your time beyond the time it took for you to create those initial booking emails. So let's say that you did go out and you found a studio that you knew you wanted to book fall sessions for. You added those dates to your online calendar, and then you started marketing those dates, and you had it set up in your CRM so that when somebody booked a studio date, they automatically get an email with all of the styling information that's pertinent to the studio, directions to the studio, anything else they might need to get. And then they would also get reminder emails moving forward from the tool instead of from your time. So that reminder is so helpful. So I'll tell you about a real life situation that I just had where I had a client who it was kind of like a very confusing booking situation. There was a lot of moving parts and changes within the date. And when I was reading which date she wanted, I put it into my online booking, and she had actually wanted a different date. But the miscommunication was never caught until she started getting reminders for the session from Acuity, which showed the date I'd actually put in. So then she emailed me and said, oh, I actually had this date in my calendar. And I said, well, as you can see from Acuity, this is the date that I've had in for the last month or so. This is the date that works for me. And luckily we were able to make it work. But it was that system that caught the misunderstanding in the email. Instead of me showing up to a session where a client is at home sitting on the couch, which is not what I want. So that's where these systems become almost like our employees, because they can catch possible mistakes, they can send out reminders, they can help the client feel valued, and it's not using your time, it's using the tool. So that's how I like to think about it. If you can slow your marketing down and focus on one season at a time, you can craft a season that works for you instead of rushing around and stressing and grasping at straws as people are desperately trying to get holiday card photos and you feel pulled away from your family, or that your time is being utilized in a way that you don't want. If you can set an intention now of the fall that you want to have by using the data that you already know, look back at your past fall. What was stressful? What didn't work? What did people connect to? What did they not connect to? You have so much data at your fingertips, and you also know, unless it is your very first fall in business, you kind of already have an idea of what you want to participate in and what you don't. So the last thing I want you to do, and I do feel fearful of this with our current economy, is hold off for a long time on booking anything to do with fall, and then realize that you do want to participate in fall, but at that time, you don't have any choices left and you're just scrambling and trying to book people, and you're doing the thing of giving in to every last whim of a client because you have not set an intentional fall yourself. So if you can think about it, even though it's June right now, if you can set aside, and it'll only take you about an hour or two to look through the months of September, October, November, or December, whichever one of those you consider fall in your state, then you can plan now how many of those individual dates you want to book. Then you have this handful of little products that you need to go and sell. And that can be so much easier than thinking that fall is just going to slap you across the face with client expectations that you don't want to be a part of. So that's how I think of systems in marketing. The tool saves my time because I don't want to be doing all of these things manually. So for me, when I have the grouping of Acuity, the client books, they choose the date, they pay the contract. So another system I have is my contract is right included in my Acuity, so they can sign the contract. They pay the initial booking fee. They're automatically in the system. They're automatically going to get reminder emails. And then I have an email that goes out with a session that they booked, and it says, thank you for booking a session with me. And then I have all my styling resources and anything they might need to know about the location and time and whatever else, so they feel super supported. And then going forward, while I'm out playing with my kids and doing all kinds of other stuff, Acuity is sending them reminder emails, and I never really have a problem with no-shows, and I don't have a problem with late clients because the time is very specified. And I just feel like that reminder really helps me. Also, they're over at their house planning the styling for the session without me planning the styling for them. Where if you have a very high touch styling process, that's fine. But again, you need to make sure that you feel compensated for the time that you're giving the client. So these sort of systems end up saving me time so that I can design the type of fall or whatever season it is that I'm planning that I want to have. For me, my summer pretty much gets planned out the November before because I do my Black Friday sale. So my system planning is a little bit different, but I still I have rules that I do. So I usually in the summer only shoot Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays for the most part. And then those other days are open. So I know that going in that's kind of my rule. And of course, sometimes things get shifted around or I open things up in a different way. But just by having that set intention of when I'm going to work and when I'm not, and building systems around my rules, that is the best way to use systems. I have the foundation. I know what I'm working towards. The system supports that. So often photographers are just throwing dates up or adding every date possible to their online booking, hoping that people are going to book. They don't do that. They're not sure exactly what they're marketing. It doesn't feel seasonal. It doesn't feel specific, and it doesn't feel scarce. And thus the client loses out on that friction of wanting to make sure that they can get onto your calendar. So I hope this helps in a slight twist of looking at systems, where it's not just sign up for the system because someone told you to. It's have a marketing foundation and have the system support your foundation. Okay, so I hope that was helpful, and I will be back next week.